Welcome back to the channel. It's Seth with Crawlworks Power Sports, and today what we want to talk about is the front suspension and the rear suspension, and we're going to actually talk about the bushings that comes from the factory with these machines here. So in a minute I'm going to go ahead and do a close-up of the bushings and the suspension piece here that I have here, and then also a close-up of our brass bushing. But I'm going to go ahead and explain why our brass bushing is a lifetime bushing and it's better for your Uforce and your suspension than what they had manufactured from the factory. So let's go ahead and get into that. Okay, so this here is a factory bushing setup out of a CFMoto Uforce 1000 XL. And the one thing I want to go ahead and talk about is the bushings that they use is not like a UHMW or a really hard plastic like other machines use. This is actually a softer plastic bushing, but they use a metal sleeve that goes all the way through. So one thing I want to go ahead and show you is how this sleeve here is flush on this side. And then if we go onto this side, how the sleeve is about 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch farther that way. So what we're going to talk about is your mounting surface from the tabs that are on the frame that this attaches to. There's a tab on each side. Your bolt goes through. When you tighten up that bolt, this metal sleeve tightens against the two tabs, but this face surface of the bushing does not tighten against the tab. So what's going to happen is that's going to allow your A-arm to walk back and forth consistently. Whenever you start walking back and forth, you start wearing, and then sooner or later you could snap the bolt from that walking back and forth, because it's actually going to take and move the tabs on the frame as well. It could break tabs off on the frame. So how we corrected that is with our brass bushing. Our brass bushing does not use any sleeve whatsoever. So these bushings are actually machined with a less than a thousandth of an inch tolerance between the bolt shank and this hole to allow no movement whatsoever. Plus, whenever you install it into the A-arm, you have a large surface that now mounts. This bushing moves within the A-arm. So then the grease fitting that comes with the A-arms is now usable, because as of right now, when you pump this full of grease, this metal sleeve is turning inside this plastic housing bushing. It does get lubricated, but we were more worried about how this sleeve is not machined correctly to the same identical length as to the lip on this bushing. Whenever you have a little bit of play, so if we figure you got two A-arms on the front, one has 3 thousandths on one side, one has 3 thousandths on the other side, or that could even be more than 3 thousandths of an inch. I'm just throwing that rough estimated number out there, that as much as this can walk back and forth, that's your wheels moving every time you hit a bump. So it's going forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward, backwards. So in a previous video we had an issue with our XL. The bolt head came loose and actually egg-shaped, hollowed out our bolt hole tabs on the frame. So whenever that happens, now you have a lot of play, and you can rip that tab out and rip this completely off of the frame. So these are an inexpensive part to the expense that can be incurred by these failing at a later date and being able to have that much movement inside the A-arms. We do manufacture these for the Super ATV high clearance forward A-arms to be able to fit those on the Uforce XL. And we also manufacture these to fit the factory A-arms on the fronts and the rears and the Jake Moorhead 2-inch forward A-arms for these machines. So that was just a brief explanation, sorry, it's Monday morning, of why our brass bushing is superior to any other bushing that's out there on the market, because any other bushing that's still out there on the market uses this metal sleeve. If you buy aftermarket blue bushings, you still have to reuse this metal sleeve. So you still have the same issue and problem that what you had that caused that bushing to wear out. So it's going to be a wear item that's consistent. This bushing here is a lifetime bushing. It is self-lubricating, it is self-oiling. All you have to do is just put 2 pumps of grease in this thing once a year, and this bushing will outlast your machine. Your machine will die before this bushing dies. And the reason why we know that is because we put it to the test. We put over 1,000 miles on a machine with these bushings, and we took them out, and it has the same exact tolerance that's inside board in the middle as what it had from straight off the CNC machine that we had made these with. So I just wanted to give you a brief explanation there on the bushings with these machines, and hope that helps you out making a wise decision. You can find these bushings on our website at crawlworks.co under Uforce suspension parts and products. Have a good day, guys.